Yo, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at the first weekend of online tournament results in the Destined Rivals format. This is going to be pretty important to talk about. Of course, these results will impact what goes down at NEIC next weekend, so I think it's important to see what decks are doing good right now. Of course, there's a lot of new cards that just came out, so people might be just trying out different things, trying out the new cards, so these results may not be like insanely impactful if people just want to try the new stuff to see if it's any good, but I'll be curious to see how these results are, because I know people are probably playing in these tournaments literally to test for NEIC specifically, so it'll be interesting to see what decks have been performing the best. Is Grimmsnarl dominating? Are we seeing any of the Team Rockets decks do well? I'm really excited to take a look at all that in today's video. If you're looking to play an online tournament for yourself, I'll leave a link to play.limitless down below, the site I am using. And if you're new here to the second channel, make sure to subscribe down below. It'd be greatly appreciated. We're on the road, I think, to 25,000 subs here, or 24K subs. And of course, if you want to join into the video, leave a like. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of the first weekend here of online tournament results here in the Destined Rivals NEIC format. We'll start off. We got 5 tournaments to look at. There was more tournaments, but a lot of them are closed deck lists because people don't want to give away what they're playing in NEIC. Again, a lot of people are playing these tournaments to literally test for NEIC, right? So the closed deck list tournaments make sense, but there are still a decent amount of open deck list one. First one we got, the Tournament of Doom. Now, this one, I think, was the first tournament in the Destined Rivals meta, at least the first big tournament. And actually, surprisingly, we saw Goldango Dragapult win the entire thing here, played by Lee Bui, who played something very similar to Portland Regionals. So Lee really liking this Goldango deck right now. Now, Goldango's in a weird spot. I think it gets slightly worse with Destined Rivals because its Flareon matchup isn't fantastic. That deck is going to be more popular. Also, I don't think it has the greatest matchup versus Grimmsnarl, or at least that one does seem tough. We do see Lee's build here is pretty simple. Like, I think it's literally like almost the exact 60 what he played to Portland for Pengo. Pengo still seems good. I mean, it's probably still the best way to play Goldango right now. I don't think the Typhlosion build is as good as people want it to be, and I don't think Dunsparce is as good either. I think Dragapult, Goldango, still probably the best way to play Goldango right now. And yeah, I mean, we'll see if Goldango can keep it up. It did win the first major online tournament. But what's interesting, though, the first major online tournament here, we did get to see a Spidops deck, Spidops Mewtwo Team Rocket deck here in second place. So Mewtwo almost could have won an online tournament, almost won the first big one. We saw that it was the Team Rockets Mewtwo deck. Now, it's a pretty simplistic list here. It does use the Team Rockets engine. I've seen some people talk about whether or not it's worth it to even play the Team Rocket engine in Mewtwo because it, while it's consistent, you don't get access to cards like Fez or whatnot as easily. But yeah, we do see the build here. It's pretty simple. We got the 4/4 Spidops, the 2 Mewtwo, the Mimikyu, the Articuno. There's a Zapdos in the deck too. 7 Grass Energy, so a pretty hefty amount of energy here, trying to capitalize on Spidops' ability as much as you can. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Mewtwo does have potential, right? Being able to one-shot stuff with Mewtwo, having the ability to be a grass type is nice because Spidops is really powerful versus decks like Grimmsnarl and Charizard, especially Grimmsnarl being a big one because Mewtwo can't really do anything against Grimmsnarl because it only has 280 HP and it's weak to Dark. This build does play 2 Bravery Charm too to give your Mewtwo more bulk. The Bravery Charm giving the Mewtwo, 330 HP? Sounds pretty cool. So this is definitely not a bad take on the Team Rockets deck. I want to see if this second place list can carry on going forward here in the future. In the top 4, we did see Guardy. I don't think Gardevoir is going anywhere. Gardevoir did gain Shaman. We can see this build does put a Shaman in here. Shaman's like a pretty good inclusion in Gardevoir right now. It makes a lot of sense to play it. Guardy, still really good. I know that Grimmsnarl matchup looks a little scary, but I think Guardy can still do whatever it wants. It doesn't really have any bad matchups. I've said this many times. It doesn't really take any bad matchups. It's Gardevoir at the end of the day. It's a very strong and powerful deck that can do anything. And even though Grimmsnarl might be getting popular, I think the deck is still fine. A couple Joltics here in top 8. I think this deck's also pretty well positioned right now, mainly because, again, a lot of people are playing Grimmsnarl, and this deck seems to have a good Grimmsnarl matchup. You have the Pikachu, you have the Iron Leaves, you have Galvantula, you have a lot of attackers that can KO the Grimmsnarl. Iron Hands is really, really good against Froslass decks in general, so you have that alongside the Pikachu. If you're looking for a deck that I think has a great matchup in a Grimmsnarl, I think Joltik Box is probably the best answer right now. This deck does seem like it's an extremely good spot, and I don't know, I'm curious to see if this deck will actually translate well into NEIC. I'm expecting to see a lot of Joltik Box at NEIC. I'll do my tournament, or my tier list for NEIC soon. We'll talk about where I think the meta is right now. But yeah, Joltik Box, not surprised to see it do so well here. The deck is still in a pretty good spot. We have 2 in top 8 here in this tournament. This one does play the Iron Leaves, but does have a Genesect in the deck too, which probably comes up a bit against Goldango, which, I don't know, maybe Goldango's going to get more popular. It is winning, so we'll have to see on that one. Is Goldango really going to be more popular? I don't know. It's certainly possible. There was one Grimmsnarl deck in the top 8 here. This one plays a Maractus in the deck, which I think makes sense. I think Maractus is a pretty good inclusion within Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl didn't dominate the first big tournament. I think that makes sense. Maybe, the deck was getting heavily teched for. I mean, we saw 2 Joltik Box in top 8, which doesn't seem like a great matchup for this deck. We had another Gardevoir deck here in the top 8. This one looks like the Henry Chow build with the Drapska. It does play a Wash Tower in the deck, though, for a little bit of extra disruption, which can help a little bit more into decks like Raging Bolt and good into Terra Box or Flareon, too. Which, I mean, Flareon's already like a decent matchup for Gardevoir, I think, but especially because you have the Rabska. But the Wash Tower can be a nice sneaky little tech card to stop some decks from setting up here. And then finally, last deck in the top 8 was Cal Connor, who played the Eevee box deck here and got top 8. So I think that Flareon box is well positioned right now. We are seeing a lot of Goldengo, and this deck also, I think, beats Grimmsnarl. The only problem is, obviously, that Guardian matchup can be a little shaky. I do think that Flareon box is definitely a very powerful archetype to play right now, and it's something that, personally, I would be testing if I was going to NEIC. And wanting to play this deck. I would get on it now because this deck is hard to play and it does have a lot of lines, and I think you need to really practice this deck in order to do well with it. But the deck is strong, so I'm not surprised to see Cal make top 8 here. I think the addition of Leafeon makes sense. That's like the one thing when playing the Flareon deck is you just put a Leafeon in your deck and all of a sudden you're beating Grimmsnarl a lot more easily now. So yeah, Flareon box definitely looking pretty good at the moment for sure. Next up, we have the Pumpkin Amy tournament. This was the second biggest tournament of the format so far this weekend. The deck that won it was the Joltik box deck. Similar to the one we saw earlier, it does play the Genesect in the deck to stop the Ace-Specs, does have the Iron Leaves in there. Galvantula does play a Protective Goggles, which gets rid of weakness, which is an interesting idea for sure. Has that Power Glass, a lot of tools. Goggles, EXP Share, Booster Capsule, Power Glass, Charm, Rescue Board, a lot of tool cards within this Joltik box deck. But seems pretty good, right? The Genesect makes sense. With all the Goldango going around, it's probably not a bad idea to put a Genesect in your Joltik box at the moment in these online tournaments. So, yeah, I'm not surprised to see Joltik box take down the whole thing. It was able to actually beat Typhlosion in the finals. Now, it's a Typhlosion Pidgeot build here. I personally like the Dragapult variant of the deck quite a bit. That's the one I run into a lot on the ladder whenever I play against Typhlosion, but the Pidgeot build is definitely interesting. Pidgeot, kind of like Charizard, does, you're kind of playing like, not the same deck, but you have this big Beat Stick fire attacker with the Pidgeot engine. It makes a lot of sense. Pidgeot synergizes well with Quilava, in my opinion. It did get second place. Lost to Joltik box. I don't think it's a great matchup for this deck. I mean, you can't really use Pidgeot in that matchup because it gets knocked out super easily. You can even get amped with a Booster Capsule. But Typhlosion does seem decent right now, right? It seems like it's one of the better decks from Destined Rivals, one of the best one-price decks for sure. The question is, will it be able to beat Grimmsnarl? Can it be Dragapult? And can it be Gardevoir? Those are the 3 decks you need to beat. This deck does pretty good, in my opinion, against Flareon and Goldango. Probably does okay, too, against like other fringe decks. Like Raging Bolt, obviously, seems like a good matchup. But at the end of the day, are you going to be beating those big 3 spread archetypes, right? So we'll have to see on that one. But it was able to get second place. So Typhlosion did have a result. There was a Grimmsnarl, at least in the top 4 here. This one does have Blood Moon or Saluna and the Maractus in the deck. I think that makes sense. I like the addition of those 2 cards. Plays a bit of a thinner line of the Grimmsnarl, just a 3-2 line of Grimms. Does have the Morgrim. I'm not sure why the Morgrim's all the way over there, but okay. It has an Iron Bundle in there, too. Still plays Secret Box, has that Devo in there. 2 Team Evo, too. So, pretty decent little Grimmsnarl 60 here. Was able to get top 4. And then we have a Dragapult Dusknoir in top 4 here. I think Pult Dusknoir might be the best way to play the deck right now because straight Pult doesn't seem as good into Grimmsnarl at the moment, and Gardevoir, which are 2 pretty good decks right now, and those decks, I think, beat Dragapult. But the Dusknoir build has the aggression beside it, and I think being able to be a bit more aggressive with Dusknoir makes more sense into this metagame. So I'm not surprised to see the Dragapult Dusknoir build do as good right now. So, yeah. We'll see if Dragapult can continue its footing in the format. We had another Goldango here in top 8. This one was the Typhlosion build. So there is at least one Typhlosion Dragapult. This tournament had 2 Typhlosions in the top 8. So look at that. Now this build was playing Unfair Stamp. So I've seen this before where like Goldango Typhlosion doesn't run eSearch Pro. It plays a different ace spec. Because you have Quilava and Ethan's Adventure, you have ways to find your energy. The downside without playing eSearch Pro, though, is you don't have the ability to take that like immediate big blow up knockout, which can be a lot worse versus decks that use Unfair Stamp, but it is a cool archetype nonetheless. So it's cool to see this Goldango Typhlosion deck do well. The addition of Unfair Stamp is certainly interesting for sure. Is this the best way to play Typhlosion? And is it the best way to play Goldango right now is mainly the question. We'll see. I don't know. The Typhlosion seems like a cool inclusion. We had a Sarah Legend top 8 here. Pretty straightforward build, actually. Just playing 4/3 Sarah Ledge and then the support ability mons that draw you cards. Is basically it. It was a very straightforward list here. I mean, Sarah Ledge is fine. You know, it's a decent little deck. Was able to get top 8 in this tournament. And then we had an Okie Dokie deck in top 8 too. This one was the Poison Okie Dokie deck here. Playing Genesect, playing some Watchtowers. Has this new Grimer in the deck here. At the end of your opponent's next turn, discard the defending Pokemon and all attached cards. That's an interesting attack. I guess that could be pretty good against like stage 2s like Grimmsnarl and stuff, because like you force them to retreat, but sometimes they don't always want to retreat out of the active spot. It's a cool idea. Yeah, I don't hate the idea of this like poison deck right now. I think like Poison Moon, maybe like Poison Okie Dokie. What other poison? Poison Archaladon, I guess, is another poison deck. I don't think the poison package is terrible right now. I don't think that it's in a bad spot. The one thing with this deck, though, it doesn't play any Brute Bonnet or anything, so it's not really a poison deck, I guess, because it plays no Brute Bonnet. It just uses Petron for Poison Chain. But still, like, the idea stands. Like, I don't know, the idea of playing Petron right now doesn't seem terrible at the moment. We saw Roy Moon did win the recent Bologna SPE. So, could be something there. And then we have an Archaladon deck in top 8 here, and it was the Archaladon Venture Bomb deck. So, Archaladon, I think, does have a bit of not an identity crisis, but I think has kind of slipped a little bit. We saw, like, the Zork and, like, the poison build and all the other like different variants of Archaladon, like the Dunsparces and the doubles, try to do something in the Journey Together meta, but honestly, Archaladon just ended up being kind of mid. But this Venture Bomb build could actually be the best way to play the bridge, because Venture Bomb allows you to take bigger knockouts and fixes math, lets you use Monkey Dory more, which is kind of cool. You have your own ability that can self-accelerate energy to the Archaladon. This build plays a Hero's Cape too to give it more HP, which is kind of neat actually. I guess that helps more against Grimmsnarl. So yeah, I don't think Archaladon's in a bad spot right now. Definitely seems like a decent little deck right now. I guess if Goldengo's popular, it's not good. This deck still struggles against Goldengo. Or maybe it doesn't, actually. I guess Venture Bomb helps against Goldengo because you can actually knock them out now a bit easier if you can flip a couple heads. So, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. And that was the top 8 in this tournament here. There was a couple other 6-2 decks, but we can move on here to the Jesters monthly tournament, which Grimmsnarl was able to win. So, Grimmsnarl did win an online tournament here. This one has the Maractus in the deck also. So I guess Maractus is going to be a lot more common now within Grimmsnarl. Does play the 4/3 Grimmsnarl line. No Blood Moon, Triple Monkey, Shaman still in there. Obviously still playing Devo and has the Secret Box in there. So it's a pretty decent Grimmsnarl deck if you're looking for one to copy. It did beat Dragapult Dusknoir in the finals, which is interesting. I think, again, Dragapult Dusknoir is the better variant of Dragapult right now. It has the better matchup versus the Grimmsnarl, but I mean, Grimmsnarl can just be so aggressive that I guess makes sense why Dragapult can still struggle against it. But yeah, Pult Dusknoir is still a pretty strong deck, like I said. Probably the best way to play the deck at the moment over Straight Pull. That's probably why we're not seeing any Straight Pulls currently in this video. We had a Guardian top 4 here. So the 3 decks in top 4 were the 3 big decks in the meta. So we saw one Guardian here. This one has a Klefki in the deck and a TM Devo. So it's trying to be a little bit more disruptive and plays Quad Monkey Dory. No Drifloon. So really trying to lean more into the idea of utilizing Monkey Dory. Even plays 4 Dark Energy. It's a very, very fascinating take on the Gardevoir list here. Great Tusk Mill in top 4 is kind of wild. I mean, this is a fine little deck. We did see it had like one decent result in the Journey Together meta. Like, it's a fine deck. It's a fun little mill deck. I don't really think this deck is like anything super great. I don't even know if it really beats Grimmsnarl. Just because maybe it does beat Grimmsnarl actually. Nah, probably not. I don't know. Maybe it's like very hard. I guess you have Neutralization Zone. You can try to mill other stadiums. I don't know. All right, we do have a Joltik box here in top 8 once again. Playing the Iron Leaves. Got the Protective Goggles within the deck. Also, the Bear. But yeah, there's no Genesect in this one. Also playing less tools. Double Bravery Charm, though, to try to give your Mons more HP. I think it makes a lot of sense, especially against decks like the Grimmsnarl matchup. It has the double grab mount in there, too. Makes a lot of sense also. Another Archaladon top 8. This one also playing the Venture Bomb. Pretty similar to the list we just looked at, actually. Instead of playing League Headquarters, looks like there's a couple Watchtowers in the deck. Has the Hero's Cape still as the A-Spec. So yeah, Archaladon Venture Bomb seems pretty good. I don't know. Maybe there's something to that deck for sure. Another Sarah Legend top 8. Wow, 2 Sarah Legend top 8s this format is kind of wild. I don't know. Does this deck beat Grimmsnarl? Because I think it probably can beat Dragapult. Guardy is obviously going to be a little bit more tougher. But yeah, does it beat Grimmsnarl? It's interesting that we saw 2 of them. This one doesn't play Monkey Dory or anything like that either. It has the Rev of Room in the deck for a little bit of extra draw, though. So that's cool, I guess. So that's interesting. It looks like we might have one straight Dragapult deck here. No, it was Dragapult Typhlosion. Never mind, I lied. It was a Dragaflosion deck here in the top 8. Again, I think this might be the best way to play Typhlosion just because Dragapult really does complement Typhlosion nicely. Getting that extra attacker, while having Typhlosion as a nice one-prize beat stick attacker can be nice. Also very good into Goldengo, so right off the bat, if Goldengo is going to be more popular, this deck seems better into Goldengo because you're using a one-prize fire attacker as opposed to using Charizard. It's kind of like, the argument can be like, why would you not just play Dragapult Charizard instead of playing the Typhlosion build? Because the Charizard gives you a better matchup into Gardevoir, where the Typhlosion doesn't. I don't know, man. Is it better? Who knows? Maybe Typhlosion is just better. Could be. All right, moving on. We got the Battle Park tournament here, which was won by Dragapult Goldengo once again. So this deck was able to win 2 online tournaments. This one, I think the only difference with the other list was that it does play a Picnic Basket in the deck, which is supposed to be nice against Grimmsnarl and Dragapult. You can like heal the damage that they do to you. Can like reset the damage, slow them down from able to play the TM Devolution also, which makes a lot of sense. So yeah, Dragapult Dengo has won 2 online tournaments this weekend, looking pretty good. Did beat Archaludon in the finals, beat the Archaludon Venture Bomb Monkey Dory deck with the Hero's Cape. Looks like the same 60 we saw earlier too, so it looks like this deck's been starting to get figured out pretty quickly, actually. Makes a lot of sense. It's cool. Cool stuff for sure. All right, let's see what else we got here. The top 4 had a Gardevoir in it. This one's got the Shaman. Yeah, pretty simple Guardiolus, no Rabsc or anything. Just played the triple Team Evo and the 2 Arvenso that we saw from Henry Chow. That's interesting. Alrighty then. What else we got here? It's taking a second to load. There we go. Another Dragapult here in top 4. Whoa, Dragapult Gardevoir? What the heck? Okay, this is kind of wild. I ran into this on the ladder. Hey, Pokeduels and ladder, he's playing this deck. So, I don't know. Is this deck actually good? It seems like you're just taking like the 2 strongest EXs in the game and just putting them together in one deck. Kind of a pile. But I guess like you do get access to Screamtail, which is kind of cool. Gardevoir and Dragapult don't really have a lot of synergy together, but I mean, I guess you're combining the best of both worlds. It's like playing Dragapult and Charizard. You're combining the best of both worlds into one deck. But that begs the question, would it be better just to play Charizard with Dragapult as opposed to Guardy? Because I don't even know if this deck beats Gardevoir itself, right? I mean, I guess you do get the idea of playing Screamtail, and Screamtail is really good. That's probably one of the main selling points about playing this deck. And I guess you get Dracloak as a bit of a draw engine, too, as opposed to playing, because it doesn't really replace Kirlia, but kind of replaces Kirlia in a way, if that makes any sense. No, that's crazy. All right, in this top 8, we did have a Yanmega Iron Hands deck. I like this deck a lot. I did a video on the deck here on the main channel if you want to go watch that afterwards. The deck really did impress me quite a bit. Might be my favorite deck so far from Destined Rivals. The deck's pretty powerful. You get access to Iron Hands, which is good right now. You get a nice big grass attacker, which is very good against Grimmsnarl. You get the Dunsparce engine. I don't think it's great, but the Dunsparce engine is still like decent, and it does synergize really well with Yanmega's ability. So yeah, I think Yanmega does have a lot of potential. This Iron Hands Dunsparce approach seems pretty good. I like quite a bit. Definitely give it a try if you haven't already, because again, I really enjoyed the deck when I tried it out for a YouTube video. It's cool to see it make top 8 here. Speaking of top 8, the first time we got a look at Raging Bolt here in this format in the top 8. So I think Raging Bolt is still a great deck right now. I think it is still one of the best decks in the format. It still beats Dragapult. I think it actually beats Grimmsnarl. You do have a lot of grass attackers. You have 1-hit KO potential pretty easily with Raging Bolt. This build does play an Iron Leaves in it. I think Iron Leaves probably has to go back into Raging Bolt just because it is necessary to have against Grimmsnarl. You do have the Teal Mask Ogerpon, which obviously can KO Grimmsnarl, but the Iron Leaves gives you more insurance, and it's a free switching card, which is actually relevant versus Maractus, which we are seeing a lot of those Grimmsnarl decks start to incorporate into their deck. You might even have to start putting Turo back into Raging Bolt, but I guess you can only fit so many cards here in the deck, of course, so I guess that's why. We had a Dragapult Pidgeot top 8 here. Not bad. I mean, yeah, Dragapult Pidgeot's like a pretty decent deck. Pidgeot's a bit harder to use against Budu. Like, you're probably not getting the Pidgeot out that often against Grimmsnarl. If you're not really using it against Grimmsnarl, it's just dead weight in your deck. But I think it's still cool. When you get Pidgeot out, obviously, your deck becomes a lot more stronger. And the longer the Pidgeot stays on the board, the more chances you have of just winning the game because your opponent can't really keep up with the fact that you can kind of get any card you want. But yeah, Dragapult Pidgeot's not a terrible archetype. But it's better than just Dragapult Dusknoir. I don't know. We had another Raging Bolt deck here in at the top 8. This one does not play the Iron Leaves, however. It does have a Briar in the deck. Briar's not bad maybe against Grimmsnarl. You can go like Briar, Teal Mask against Grimmsnarl or something. That could come up. Though Grimmsnarl can manipulate the prize trade pretty easily and get around Briar. But I think it's a cool concept for sure. That was the top 8 of this tournament. We can move on to the Sunny's Weekly Tournament, also being won by Dragapult Dengo. So once again, this deck won yet another online tournament. So Goldengo Dragapult has now won 3 online tournaments this weekend. That's pretty insane, actually, especially because a lot of people are saying this deck isn't very good right now because of decks like Flareon and Grimmsnarl, but apparently the deck is fine right now. This one's got double Jamming Tower, no Picnic Basket. Yeah, Dragapult Dengo, pretty good deck. Was able, once again, to beat a Mewtwo deck in the finals. This is the second time now we saw the Mewtwo Spite Ops decks make the finals. This build's decent. It's got a couple of extra tech cards. It's got the Clefairy in there to make Mewtwo one-shot Dragapult. Does have the Chingling in the deck, which is kind of wild. Discard a random card from your opponent's hand. Interesting attacks. Got the Wob and the Mimikyu in there. One thing I do like about this list is the addition of the E-Switches. I think E-Switch is really good with Mewtwo because it allows you to build it up in one turn. Which, one of my issues I've had with the Mewtwo deck so far is that it feels a little bit slow. The E-Switch does make up for the lack of, speed the deck, kind of lacks because of the fact that you have to attach twice to it. We see a Garchomp in top 4. That's pretty cool. Just a Garchomp deck with a Monkey Dory. It's got the Rose Raids in there. Yeah, I like it. I'm a big fan of Garchomp. It's cool to see this deck do well. Hopefully we start seeing this deck get day 2 at regionals and ICs. Well, I guess there isn't any regionals, but ICs. Maybe the deck will get day 2 at any IC. I'm hopeful, man. I like this deck a lot. I think Garchomp's really cool, so I'm happy to see it in the top 4 here. Speaking of top 4, we saw another Grimmsnarl deck here. Pretty straightforward approach. No Bactus. Yeah, no Maractus, no Bear, anything like that. Just pretty straightforward approach to the deck. It does have an E-Switch in there to do a couple of Adrenabrains, which is not a bad idea. So that's good. All right, we had another Grimmsnarl below it here within the top 8 of this tournament. This one, playing the Marnie's Morpeko. Nice little one-prize attacker. I don't know if the Morpeko is that good because you have to put a lot of energy on it. But it's cool that the deck did incorporate it. I guess it gives you an attacker against Cornerstone, though I haven't seen a single Cornerstone yet in this video, so I don't think it's necessary. Also plays 9 energy, and the Recycler try to utilize the Morpeko a little bit more. So that's kind of neat, I guess. I guess it's a bit better than the Gardevoir, which, I mean, you already have the Grimmsnarl, though. Throwing a Grimmsnarl in Guardy's face seems pretty good. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Morpeko's good. We do see another Guardy here. This one's got the triple Team Evo once again, triple Arven in there. It's probably going to be the norm we're going to see Guardy go with going up 4 now, in my opinion, in this format. And then we had a Pulsar in top 8. And the deck's pretty solid. It's got a Max Belt in there, Jamming Tower, Monkey Dory. I don't hate it. If I was playing Pulsar, I would probably be playing stuff like the Jamming Tower and the Max Belt. Max Belt is really good against Grimmsnarl. I think this deck's actually really strong, but the question is, can Dragapult Charizard beat Grimmsnarl? I don't know if it does. Even if you're playing Jamming Tower, I don't think it's enough. They just put too much damage on your board. So I think Max Belt makes sense, because if you put a Max Belt on your deck, I feel like all of a sudden you're just destroying Grimmsnarl. They take too many prizes at a point a game, all of a sudden your Charizard is doing a ton of damage with the Max Belt on. You're probably going to be then one-shotting the Grimmsnarls pretty easily, I want to say. So it does make sense in that regards. Then we had a Raging Bolt here, once again, with the Iron Leaves in the deck here. Area Zeros, Jamming Tower, yeah. Pretty straightforward stuff for the Raging Bolt deck. Yeah, Raging Bolt still seems like a pretty solid deck in our format right now, so not surprised to see it do well. And that was the top 8 of this tournament here. So overall, quick recap, I think that Dragapult Gholdengo doing really good, maybe overperforming a little bit, but maybe the deck is actually that good. We only saw one Flareon in the top 8, which I'm surprised to see. I would have thought that Flareon was going to be more popular, because then the deck's actually really good, but only one Flareon, quite a bit of Joltik, obviously a lot of Grimmsnarl, but people are just testing Grimmsnarl out right now. We did see some Typhlosion, some Dragapult variants, Dragapult Charizard, Dragapult Typhlosion, Dragapult Dusknoir. We saw some interesting Archaludon decks do well. Archaludon was kind of the underdog of this video. I feel like we were seeing a lot of Archaludon sneakily do well. We saw a couple of Rockets Mewtwo make the finals, so maybe that deck could actually be pretty legit after all. But yeah, very interesting results nonetheless here, and I'm interested to see what the second weekend of the Destined Rivals results will look like in the next video that I upload here, looking at the tournament results. I'm going to be fascinated to see what else can kind of carry on going into any IC. But hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you want to play in an online tournament for yourself, I'll leave a link to play.limits down in the description below. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below as always. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Let me know what you think of the results in the comment section below, and I'll catch you on another video here very soon. Bye-bye.